夜明けを迎えたら忘れてね。
Healing Clinic. After finishing your patrol for the day, you head down to visit Vince's healing clinic once more. In the weeks since losing contact with Vin, you've come here countless times, but the door always stays shut. It's as if he's vanished into thin air, leaving no trace behind. But then you two work together to find a way to break the Cheongji parasitism, but found nothing. Even as the Bureau's affairs grew overwhelming these past 6 months, you still kept in touch. You always believed this matter would be resolved someday, but his sudden disappearance shattered all your illusions. You fought to surprise the Cheongji, wearing each other down. You had considered the worst outcome, but the Omnispirits Bureau hasn't detected the Cheongji's demise, and since it is still alive, Vin must be alive as well. A breeze stirs rustling the ripe maple branches, and behind the dappled shadows of the trees, you seem to see a familiar face. Vin? The trees remain still as the wind ceases. No one answers your call. That fleeting glimpse feels like an absurd illusion. Lately, you've been seeing Vin's figure for some odd reason or another, just like right now, and sometimes even in your dreams. You seem to catch a glimpse of his past, but you can only see his back. No matter how you call out to him, he never turns around to look at you. When you wake up early in the morning, this dream will fade, shattering into fragments you can't seem to remember. I'm sure it's just a recent stress from work. With the junior investigator selection coming up, you've been feeling quite tired lately. You shake your head to clear your thoughts and peer into the clinic where all doors and windows are shut tight. It is still completely empty. Should I go in and take a look? It's not good to trespass, but I can't stay completely clueless like this. After a moment's hesitation, you gather your courage and reach for the door lock.
Moritsuki sensei!
Startled by the sudden voice from behind, you quickly turn around. You see a sparrow monster who has yet to shed its true form, with extremely weak demonic power, which explains why you didn't notice it just now. Do you know Vin? It doesn't answer and tries to run away, but before it can even flap its wings, you block its path. Where is Vin? The monster tilts its head, trying to locate you by sound. Its true form is a Toreo sparrow, a nocturnal bird, which explains why it mistook you for someone else.
なんでお前から森月先生の気配がする。先生に何したんだ
You freeze for a moment, but given how sensitive monsters are to scent, it must be telling the truth. But why would you have been sent? As you hesitate for just a moment, it starts to struggle desperately to break free. Not wanting to hurt it, you have no choice but to let go. Wait, I'm also here to find. Before you can catch up, you suddenly hear the chirping of birds, and it feels as if a filthy shadow is cast before your eyes. Ravens appear out of nowhere, circling to form a dark cloud that looms over the courtyard. What is this strange phenomenon? Your cry of surprise is cut short. However, as the ravens suddenly lunge at you, their sharp beaks glinting coldly. You look around the courtyard but find nowhere to hide, and that sparrow monster you saw earlier has vanished without a trace.
怖がらないでいい。
A familiar voice reaches your ears, clear and real.
あれは正気が生み出した虚像で実体はない。汚れた者は正常な力を恐れる。あなたの浄化の力なら切り抜けられるだろ
You note instinctively summoning the power of the bluebird to raise a barrier before you. The ravens charging toward you dissolve into wisps of black smoke in an instant. Perhaps realizing that they can't break through your barrier, they gradually stop attacking. They call mournfully as the dark cloud disperses into the horizon. It worked! Vin, thank you. You turn around to look, but there is nothing in the small courtyard except for a couple of displaced maple leaves. But you clearly hear his voice nearby, and you are absolutely certain he is right by your side. Once again, you recall those fragmented memories from your dreams, feeling as if they are some kind of important moment. There are many questions in your mind, but the empty courtyard offers no answer. Never mind, I should head back. Omnispirit's Bureau Agent Apartment. Back at the Omnispirit's Bureau, you report today's encounter with the evil energy, only to discover that there have been several similar case reports recently. The evil energy appears at random times and places, and the only similarity is that it manifests in the form of a raven. You try to piece the information together, but there are too few useful clues. By the time you finish going through the case files, it's already late at night. The more tired you are, the more likely your mind is to wander. As you tidy up the files, your mind is once again filled with thoughts of Finn. Maybe you should visit his clinic again tomorrow. After changing into your pajamas while getting ready for bed, you catch a glimpse of the bright full moon in the sky as you pass by the window. Some restless thoughts keep nagging at you, but you pay them no mind as you slowly fall asleep while thinking about how to find Finn. When you wake up again, you find yourself in an endless void, being drawn downward into the abyss. In the chaotic darkness, you see that familiar silhouette once again. Just like before, he never turns around, walking towards an unknown destination. Vin, where are you going? Go, can you please answer me? You try to catch up with him, but countless barriers hold you back, and each step feels as difficult as breaking free from a cocoon. But you refuse to give up, pushing against the invisible torrent into the dark channel, step by step, until finally you break free from all the barriers like a newborn butterfly. You find yourself in another strange, illusory world where heaven and earth are inverted, where time stands still and everything floats in midair. And the figure you've been pursuing is bound by invisible chains. He curls up with his eyes tightly shut, seemingly having fallen into a deep slumber of exhaustion. Finn! As if hearing your call, he seems to show some response, and the invisible chains on his body rattle ever so slightly. Your intuition tells you that this is your one and only chance to wake him up and take him away. Finn, wake up! Come back with me! You want to get closer, but it feels like you are stuck in quicksand. The more you struggle, the heavier your body becomes, as if your feet are ensnared by roots. It feels as if this world is rejecting you. It has recognized you as an outsider and is trying to cast you out. Yet you refuse to leave, reaching forward with all your might, trying to grasp at those intangible chains. You don't have any special way to address each other, so you can only call out his name at the top of your lungs.
誰
Vin looks in your direction, the side movement making him furrow his brows as if he is enduring some intense pain. Vin, your eyes meet, and he freezes for a moment before looking around in confusion.
まだ生きているのか。ここはどこだろ
I don't know either. What about you? Do you remember how you got here? Vin shakes his head, looking extremely weak, as if even talking to you is too much for him.
どうしてあなたがここに？まさか、僕を探しに来たのかい？
You've been gone for a long time, and I was worried. You are reluctant to admit it outright and too afraid to linger in this strange and eerie space, desperately searching for an exit. What are those floating cubes? There seems to be something dissolving repeatedly within.
消失と分散、輪廻転生を繰り返し、最後には存在だけが残される。
He pauses for a moment, something flashing in his eyes before it quickly fades away.
どんな場所なのか分かったよ。
Really? Where are we? Vin doesn't answer, using his last bit of strength to try and break free from the chains, but it's futile and only causes him more pain.
ここは危険だ。早く行って。
Let's go together. I'll think of a solution. Before you can finish your sentence, a sudden gale sweeps through the space, making the chains rattle violently. The invisible force trapping you also begins to fluctuate. You try to get closer to Vin again, but the ground suddenly disappears beneath your feet. This world seems to be collapsing and is about to fall apart. Before you can react, you instinctively reach out to him. And the world returns to darkness once more. The last image in your memory is Vin breaking free from the chains and desperately running towards you. You feel someone embracing you. As you fall endlessly, you are each other's only warmth.
僕はここにいるよ。
Those are the last words he said to you. Omnispirit's Bureau Agent apartment. You jolt awake. The vivid sensation of weightlessness still lingers. You grab the glass of water from the bedside and take several big gulps, making sure that you have returned to reality. So it was just a dream. You let out a sigh of relief and prepare to get out of bed to pour another glass of water, but you suddenly get the feeling that something's off. Thinking that you are seeing things while half asleep, you rub your eyes hard to be sure you aren't seeing things. The glass in your hand slips and falls to the floor. Finn, how did you? The moonlight is bright tonight, gently pouring in through the windows. It passes through his silhouette and quietly falls onto the floor by the bed.
これはどういうことだろ
Vin takes a few steps towards you, and you are unable to tell if he is real or just an illusion. He leaves no footstep and casts no shadow, as if isolated in another dimension of time and space.
う。あなたは。
He reaches out to you, but seems to fear some outcome, stopping before he can touch you. Seeing how hesitant he is, you step forward to try and grab his hand. However, you touch nothing but icy air, a hollow nothingness. Omnispirit's Bureau Agent apartment. Compared to your bewilderment, Vince seems to regain his composure much faster. He walks up to the digital calendar, his finger tracing over the dates.
どうやら僕の記憶は28日前を最後に止まっている。その日から眠りについていたんだろ
So, what exactly happened? He pauses for a moment before turning to look at you.
う。その日は僕が消滅するはずだった日だよ。
He speaks casually as if he is telling you things that have nothing to do with him from the perspective of a bystander.
僕と九鬼は互いの力を食い合い、遅かれ早かれ共倒れになる。今日がその時だと、あの日の僕には分かっていた。 僕に残された力はわずかで、もう実体を保つこともできない。じきに塵となって虚無に消えるだけ。
He raises his hand and gestures through the invisible air as if to describe his situation at that time.
何度か見たことがあったんだ。怨恨や執着にとらわれ、現世にとどまらんとする魂が自爆霊となる様を。その多くは意識を持たない。未練のために輪廻を外れ、ただそこにある。自身の行動を制御することさえできない。つまり、僕とあなたの間に置かれた状況とは異なるのだが。
You listen carefully, but you still don't understand what he means.
何らかの偶然で、僕の魂はあなたに絡みつき、縁を結んだらしい。ちょうど自爆霊のように。実体をなくした他は、これまでの僕と何も変わらない。ただ、あなたに取り付いただけの存在だよ。
Clinging to me? With nods appearing quite composed, you quickly pull up a chair and sit down in front of the computer to look through the bureau's files. There are only a few records about cases of haunting spirit, but most of them are rumors and speculations with no useful information at all. What should I do? I can't find anything useful.
手がかりはないだろうね。普通の人は取り憑かれても幽霊にあったと思うか、精神的な錯覚だと思い込む。あやかしは人間の生命力を食い尽くすために取り付く。宿主が気づく頃には、身も心も乗っ取られているだろう。
But I don't seem to feel anything unusual.
ええ。だから僕たちだけが特別なんだろうね。
You find his conclusion hard to argue with. You don't feel the slightest loss in your spirit power, but instead it has become even more abundant. Apart from the fact that Vin has no physical form, you are still two separate individuals unable to see through each other's perspective and thoughts. But in this world, only you can see him, only you can speak to him through your consciousness, and only you know that he exists. This situation is quite peculiar. Amidst the silence, Vin suddenly stands up and walks towards the door. As the distance between you grows, his figure seems to blur, and his steps get heavier. As he reaches the door, he collapses weakly to the floor, letting out a feeble and painful groan. Startled, you rush over to his side. What are you doing? His hand clutches at his collar as if he is having trouble breathing. You figure out the cause and move closer to him, and eventually he slowly begins to recover.
大したことではないよ。どこまで距離が取れるのか確かめたかったんだ。僕があなたの自由な時間を脅かすなら、できるだけ離れていたいからね。
No, it's too dangerous. It'd be better if you stayed close to me.
わかったよ。
Don't worry, I'll resolve this as soon as possible.
解決？
Well, it doesn't really affect me at all, but for you... After all, Vin is a renowned monster doctor and, as the host of the Jiangqi, possesses formidable power. Even as he grows weaker, he can't just be your haunting spirit, confined to your world, unable to even stray far from you. This is really unfair to him.
なら、いい方法がある。
What is it?
僕はあなたに取り付いているが、一体化しているわけではない。どんな結果になろうと、力ずくで引き剥がせるはずだ。
Be the price? That doesn't sound like a good plan. Seeing your hesitation, Vin smiles as he gazes at you intently.
力が弱まった僕は実体を保てないから、このままよりしろを失えば消えてしまうかもしれないね。
There is something else hidden within his words, and he makes no effort to conceal it.
それでもやってみると言うなら構わないよ。
No, that sounds too dangerous. Let's keep things as they are for now and think of other options. You wave your hand repeatedly to dispel the idea, and Vin's smile becomes gentler as he moves closer to you. He looks at you seriously and nods.
このままがいいよ。
After spending the entire night trying to figure out a solution, you give up. You have an early patrol shift tomorrow, so you need to get some rest before dawn. You lie on the bed, drowsy yet unable to sleep, afraid that when you wake up again, all of this will have been just a dream. You roll over, squinting your eyes as you secretly observe Finn. He is sitting on the living room sofa, bathed in cold moonlight.
百鬼夜行図鑑。面白そうだね。
He mumbles himself and reaches out to the album on the coffee table, but can't touch it. He seems to be imprisoned in an inescapable enclosed space, losing all connections to this world except for you. As you ponder endlessly about how to solve this issue, you drowsily close your eyes. From then on, you begin spending every moment with Finn. Omnispirit's Bureau. Time flies, and 2 months have passed in the blink of an eye. After the award ceremony that day, you look at the silver badge inside the metal box in your palm, feeling a bit dazed. You walk with the crowd towards the exit, with Vin remaining close by your side, Sting seemingly avoiding any contact with the people around him.
おめでとうございます。今日から中級捜査官ですね。
You are stunned for a moment before shifting your attention from Vin to the present situation. Thank you. I just got lucky on this exam, that's all.
もう私の前では謙遜はなしですよ。同期の中で一番早い昇格なんですから、成功の秘訣くらい教えてもらわないと。
Well, as you recall, you subconsciously look at Vin again, meeting his gaze. Omnispirit's Bureau each department.
これが過去の中級試験の出題範囲なんだね。
Even someone as knowledgeable and experienced as Vin can't help but frown at your 1,000 pages worth of questions. The exam now includes combat testing, but since my abilities lean towards purification and healing, I'm at a disadvantage to close combat. So it's better to play to my strength and focus on reviewing the written part. Vin gestures for you to scroll down, quickly scanning through the text on the screen.
いくら知識を暗記しても実際に役立つとは限らないだろう。正確ではない記述もある。ここを見てごらん。宿与、少女を食らうとある。だけど宿与は植物の類で、あやかしになっても獣の肉は食べないんだ。
Many files at the Omnispirit's Bureau were burned during the previous battle. These were restored by our seniors, so there might be some errors. Word of mouth from others definitely can't compare to your first-hand experience in terms of accuracy and detail.
なるほどね。ああ、彼らの出題傾向がつかめたよ。僕に少し時間をくれるかな？その間、あなたはゆっくり休んでいて。
To you, the review questions are a tangled web of complexity, but to him they are as simple as a fairy tale book. But he is still carefully pondering and organizing these questions. Whenever you occasionally wake up, you see him sitting on the sofa deep in thought. From then on, every night after work becomes Vin's exclusive tutoring time for you alone.
丸暗記ではあまりに非効率的だから、僕の物語を聞くのはどうだろ
Your story?
う。うん。長い長い物語になるからね。心して聞いてほしい。
As you listen to his explanation, You immediately understand what he's trying to do. He is like a time-weathered tomb, his speeches brimming with myriad wonders. This little knowledge only makes you eager to see more. Perhaps this is what people call wanting more after getting a taste of things. You want to read through his experiences, savor his past, and witness every one of his memories as if you were there by his side. Points of knowledge that once troubled you are now firmly etched into your memory, alongside the stories of his past.
メイダと戦った時は妖毒に侵されてしまってね。狐の大草がなくて解毒できなかったんだ。
Wait, isn't Foxtail Cross used to break illusions? If you want to dispel the poison, you should use Cladunia.
正解。よく覚えていたね。
Why are you inserting false information in the story to test me?
その方がより理解を深められて、僕の話をちゃんと聞いているかどうか確認できるから。
He makes a good point, so you can only nod.
気になったのはそれだけかな。僕が怪我をして中毒になった後のことは聞かないのかい？
You freeze, finally realizing how careless you've been. You're just listening to a story while Vid is the one who'd lived and been through it. I'm sorry, I was focused on the exam. How did things go for you after that? Did you manage to find the antidote? Although you're led to realize your concern is genuine, Vin looks into your eyes and finally gives you a gentle smile.
謝らないで。ただの冗談だから。あなたを困らせるつもりはなかった。
So, you found it? Vin hadn't expected you to press further. He falls silent for a while before speaking again.
岩石苔は希少なものだ。突然のことで、最初こそ奇跡を期待したけれど、物語のようにはいかなかったね。とはいえ、吸気の力がある限り、僕は簡単には消えない。100年ほど眠り続けたら、毒の方が消えてしまったよ。
Vin, you... The overly calm tone makes you feel somewhat sad, but it seems way too late to be showing concern about a matter long past.
平気だよ。昔のことだから。
Vin shakes his head with a smile and looks up at the digital wall clock.
そろそろ時間だね。休んだ方がいい。
I've reviewed so much without even realizing it. My intuition tells me that I'll definitely ace this exam.
筆記試験の復習ができたら基礎的な陣術を教えよう。強力な教授を倒すのは難しくても、実技試験なら十分対応できると思うよ。
Wow, really? Thank you. Seeing your excitement, Vin also lets out a gentle laugh. But for some reason, you can't help but notice that he's been looking quite tired as of late. Turns out helping someone prepare for their exams is really a tough job.
僕の知っていることをできる限りあなたに教える。そうすれば、僕がいなくなっても自分の身を守れるし、万霊長でもうまくやっていけるだろう。
What? Where are you going? You've grown accustomed to Vin's presence during this period, so you are caught off guard when he brings this up out of nowhere. Oh, you mean separating? I haven't found a solution yet. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out when the time comes. Without saying a word, he points at the clock, indicating that you should go rest. But that night, instead of rushing to sleep, you secretly huddle under the blanket and watch Vin's silhouette for quite a while. His presence brings you a sense of comfort, and as you're overwhelmed by drowsiness, your thoughts begin to wander. Before helping Vin regain his physical form, it wouldn't be all that bad if you could continue spending every moment together just like this. Omni Spirits Bureau.
どうしました？ずっと黙ってて。 もしかしてとびっきりの秘密があるとか？
Not really. There's nothing special about my study methods. Let's say it's 1% hard work and 99% luck. Kiki chats with you for a while before being called away by her teammates. You watch the crowd passing by, then glance at Vin next to you. Only you know that the 99% luck is from the person your eyes are
お
on.
めでとう。あなたの努力が実を結んだね。
I should be the one thanking you. Without you, I would have struggled to get it done on my own. He accepts your thanks with a satisfied smile, as if your words are enough to make him feel fulfilled. This instead makes you feel a bit guilty. Vin has helped you so much, yet you still haven't made any progress on finding a way to restore his physical form. I'll do my best to find a solution and resolve your conundrum as soon as possible.
僕の問題？
You don't know if he is pretending not to understand, but it takes him a few seconds to realize what you're referring to.
個人的には今のままでも構わないけれど。特別だと思わないかい？僕たちの間だけにある。僕たち以外は誰も知らない。見えない関係だ。それとも、あなたは離れてしまいたいのかな？
You can't give him a definite answer, so you have no choice but to change the topic. I don't have any other work today. Shall we go celebrate together? You're usually the one following me around, so you should decide where to go this time. Is there any way you'd like to go? Vin lowers his eyes, seemingly lapsing into thoughts.
なら、ついてきて。
You don't understand why he's suddenly being so mysterious and not just telling you where you're both headed. After you nod, Vin reaches out to you. Even though you know you couldn't possibly grasp him, you still extend your hand. Let's go. Guishan Street. Guishan Street is as lively as ever tonight, with bright lights and people coming and going. You follow Vin closely until you two stop in front of a tea house where you immediately smell the fragrance of tea. Wow, it smells so fragrant.
ここは僕が通っていた茶館でね。珍しくて上質なお茶が100種類以上あるんだ。
That's quite a lot. Which one is your favorite?
気分によって好みは変わる。淡白な風味も濃厚な地味深さも良し悪しではなく、どちらも素敵なものだったかな。
He closes his eyes, seemingly immersed in the fragrance of tea wafting in the air, taking the time to savor it. This scene makes you feel a little sad. In his current state, he can only find temporary solace through these wind waves of fragrance. Don't worry, when you recover, we'll come here and drink to our heart's content. I'll treat you even. Consider it my way of saying thanks. Vin turns to face you with a serious look, but doesn't give you a clear response.
僕はもう十分満足だよ。本当は。
He seems to have more to say, but his voice is drowned out by a scream from nearby. You turn your head and see filthy dark clouds obscuring half of the bright moon. The ravens you encountered back then in the clinic's courtyard have returned. Again? You run against the flow of the crowd, rushing towards the center of the commotion while instinctively searching for Vin's figure.
僕のことは気にしないで。あなたのそばを離れないから。
When you reach the street corner, many pedestrians are surrounded by ravens, their panic cries filling the air. You channel the power of the bluebird, drawing the formation of Vin toward you in the air to attract the ravens' attention. But they are far more powerful than the ones you encountered before. Your barrier is quickly shattered, and their razor-sharp beaks launch at you. Several rays of cold light flash across like shooting stars, bursting into moonlit flames that engulf the ravens. The situation has taken a sudden turn. You turn to look at Vin. The faint glow at his fingertips has yet to dissipate.
実体がなくとも揚力は残っているからね。霊体なら反撃の心配もいらない。十分に対処できるよ。
Before he can finish speaking, the ravens start attacking again, filling the air with their frenzied, piercing calls. You take a fighting stance, but they completely ignore you and charge at Vin like starved beasts, spotting fresh blood. Vin! Vin is momentarily stunned by this scene, but since they are merely manifestations of evil energy, he simply dispels them with a few snaps of his fingers. Yet they still charge at him like moths to a flame, as if drawn by some deadly lure. Vin also seems to sense that something is off, but he doesn't hesitate. He raises his hands once more, ready to end this battle with a predetermined outcome. But at that moment, the ravens suddenly cease their attacks and disperse into the sky. What in the world is going on here? The ravens had appeared at the healing clinic before, and this time it is as if they were bewitched by Vin's demonic power. Could there be a connection between these? Vin falls silent, bending down to look at the scattered feathers on the ground.
ただの羽じゃない。カラスの群れを刺激する黒幕の媒介だ。あなたはまた来たと言っていたけれど、前にも襲われたことがあるんだね。
Yes, it was at your clinic on the day you woke up. Right, a sparrow monster came looking for you that day and mistook me for you, saying that I had your scent on me. Looking back now, Vin must have already been attached to you at that time, and it mistook you because it sensed Vin's demonic power.
診療所に戻ってもらえるかな。
Vin's expression suddenly turns grave, as if he has finally come to a realization. You nod, reporting the sudden incident to the bureau before heading to the healing clinic together with Vin. Healing clinic. Before you even reach the courtyard, you can already see the circling ravens from afar, launching an attack on someone. You have yet to reach the range to cast your formation when Vin has already fired several cold flames to pierce through the flock of ravens. The ravens don't fight back but scatter away with frightened cries. Their target. Ah, it's that little sparrow monster. The Thorio sparrow monster collapses in the center of the courtyard, its feathers disheveled and its exposed skin covered in peck marks. You rush over to him and use your purifying power to temporarily stabilize his wounds. Black feathers are scattered all over the ground, identical to those found on Guishan Street. This time, however, Vin merely gives them a cold glance without examining them closely. You know who's behind the ravens, don't you? Vin falls silent for a moment before giving you a nod.
おそらくこの一連の襲撃事件を企てたのは霊落したキングだろう。
What is it?
キングは上古の神鳥で、伝説では太陽の化身と言われている。遥か昔、10の太陽が空に輝き、長く続く干ばつに人々は苦しんでいた。天帝はイという英雄を地上に使わし、9つの太陽を射落とさせる。
Is this the story of Hou Yi shooting the suns? I've read about it in the ancient texts preserved at the Bureau.
そう、そのキングだ。いられて火と光の神力を失った後、落ちた太陽は消滅の定めから逃れるべく凶獣になった。そして人間や他の妖怪の妖骨から妖力を奪い、神格を取り戻そうとしている。
Wait, so you're saying that the ravens are like spotters for the Golden Cross meals?
そうとも言えるかな。
As an incarnation of the sun, its hunger can't be satisfied with any ordinary monster, so the Golden Crow is looking for. Before you can voice your guess, Vin has already gently lifted the sparrow monster with his own power.
ここは危険だ。一旦診療所の中に入ろう。
Worried that the ravens might attack again, you hurriedly followed Vin to the clinic, only to find the clinic's door tightly shut.
合鍵は右から2番目の植木鉢の下にあるよ。これからはあなたに預かってもらおうかな。たまに様子を見に来てもらいたいし。
I'll have to come back when you're here. I can't just break into an empty house. You respond offhandedly as you find the key under the flower pot. Opening the door, you enter the clinic with Finn. Healing Clinic. After entering the room, Vin first places the little sparrow monster on the bed in the corner, then uses his power to set up a barrier around him. The barrier is not large, covering only the main hall, but already seems to be pushing Vin to his limits. After that, he hunches over, his breath coming out heavily as he pants. He remains silent for a long while. Vin, are you okay?
大したことではないよ。霊体だから術を使うと妖力の消耗が激しいんだ。少し休めば良くなるから心配しないで。
You know how proud he is. He would never show weakness in front of anyone. Hence, you go to the bedside first to check on the little sparrow monster. Strange, I just cast a purification spell, so why hasn't the wound started healing? Vid walks over upon hearing this, using his power as a thread to connect the vital spiritual vein on its neck and sensing the fluctuations in energy.
彼は鳥の化身で鍛錬を積んだわけでもない。おまけに妖力も減っていて、浄化の力に適応できていないんだ。
So, what do we do?
致命傷ではないし、妖力が枯渇しているだけだから、少し分け与えてあげれば大丈夫だよ。
Before Vin finishes speaking, a faint glow appears at his fingers, shattering into specks of light that merge into the body of the little sparrow monster. Almost instantly, the sparrow monster's cool and rigid face becomes much more rosy and lively. But Vin, who is barely holding on while standing in front of you, seems to have grown even paler. Vin, Your words of worry are interrupted by the weak voice of the little sparrow monster.
あれ、生きてるのか？森月先生。
ゆっくり眠るといいよ。もう大丈夫だから。
Comforted by Vin's gentle words, it nods obediently and falls into a deep sleep. This tender moment tugs at your heart, yet this same place brings you back to a set of completely different memories.
どうしたんだい？ずっと僕を見つめて。
It's nothing. I just remembered the time when I came to ask for your help on behalf of the Omnispirits Bureau. At that time, according to the cooperation agreement between Vin and the Omnispirits Bureau, you brought the injured monsters here for treatment. He had always been cool and indifferent, often making excuses in his speech. At the time, you thought he was dissatisfied with the pay from working with the Omnispirits Bureau and that he opened the clinic purely for the money. However, there seemed to be another underlying story behind it.
万霊長のお偉方には僕が利己的な悪人に見えているだろうね。
You did hear some rumors about Vin, but after spending time with him, you realized that those were completely baseless rumors.
僕が強い態度に出なければ、万霊長は慎み深さを忘れ、今の協力関係は維持できない。どんな状況でも僕が手を貸すと確信すれば、 彼らはますますつけ上がるだろう。妖怪種の捜査官が引き受ける任務はより危険なものになる。生きてさえいれば医者が助けてくれるだろうとね。
Vin speaks in a calm tone, but his golden eyes are cold and indifferent.
権力を手にした者はしばしば私欲に駆られる。口では人とあやかしの共生を謳っているけれど、自分たちに仕えることもできない弱いあやかしのことなど見向きもしない。僕と手を組んでいるのも善意によるものなのか、形式だけのものなのか、真意は彼らにしかわからないんだ。
His words hold profound meaning.
とはいえ、医者という立場はそれなりに利点もあってね。協力関係とは別に、僕は救いたい時に救う。彼らの利益を損なわない限り、口出しされる筋合いはない。
With that, Vin turns around and walks out. You subconsciously follow him.
僕たちの依存関係も、早めに断ち切らなくては。
His sudden remark catches you off guard. What? Why bring this up all of a sudden? Vin doesn't respond and walks forward with his back facing you. You try to grab his hand, but you touch nothing but air. Like a shadow, he passes through the tightly closed clinic door and disappears before your eyes. Vin! Even you know that there's a special bond between you, one that keeps him from straying too far. But you still feel uneasy and afraid, as if you are about to lose something important in your life if you fail to quickly catch up to him. With trembling hands, you push open the door. Thankfully, he is still there. He pauses at the doorway, seemingly not yet resolved to say goodbye. After you call out a few more times, he finally turns around.
あの横島な黒カラスも、霊落したキングも、すべて僕のせいだ。
Healing Clinic. The signs have been there all along. Despite your curiosity, you don't rush to ask, but instead gestures for Vin to come inside. After he comes in, you quickly close the door, as if it would somehow prevent him from walking through it and running away. Why did it come to you? Was there some history between you two?
もう1000年は昔のことになる。
The room is dimly lit. Vin lowers his gaze, lost in memories of days long past.
揚力で言えば僕が全盛期だった頃だ。各地を巡り歩いていた時、ある村で金運が悪事を働き、婿の人々を殺戮しているのを見かけた。闇に落ちていたとはいえ、神聖を宿しているからね。たとえ肉体が滅んでも、太陽と月の力、日星月下の気を吸えば復活する。九鬼の力は悪逆非道のもの。あの落ちた神とは創世創国の関係にあり、要するに他人には手に負えないかもしれないけれど、僕は天敵なんだよ。だから金を倒した後、この血を持って封印したんだ。
So, now it's halfway through your sentence, you already know the answer.
揚力が衰えた今の僕では封じ込めておけない。時間から計算してみると、こちらが実体を失う前から封印を破って現世で暴れ出していたらしい。僕に負けて1000年も閉じ込められていたのだから、心底憎むのも当然だろう。極めつけに九鬼の宿主を食らってその力をものにすれば暴虐の限りを尽くせる。だから狙わずにはいられないわけだね。
Vin looks at you and calmly states his verdict.
僕の存在があなたを危険にさらす。
Your eyes meet for a few seconds, but he is the first to turn away, averting his gaze. But you walk back in front of him. So, have you found a safe way to separate yourself from me? Vin remains silent, only shaking his head with downcast eyes. Then you.
ただ、方法はないわけじゃない。
Vin is unwilling to back down, leaving you in a delicate stalemate. You've seen how cool and unapproachable Vin can be. Once he's made up his mind about something, he never looks back. But right now, you also have your own convictions. Say what you will, but right now we're one. We'll either succeed together or fail together. If it dares to come, you and I will face it together. Vin is momentarily stunned, complex emotions flickering in his eyes.
僕のせいで災難が降りかかると分かって、それでも離れたくならなかったのかい？
What do you mean? I'm not about to stand by and abandon someone in need. You've helped me so much. What kind of person would I be if I abandoned you in the face of danger? Besides, as a junior agent of the Omnispirits Bureau, I can't just stand by and do nothing when a beast like that has reappeared in our world. Vin nods slowly, listening intently to your earnest analysis.
たった一言聞いただけなのに、あなたは随分といろいろなことを教えてくれたね。
Which proves that I'm right. After hearing that, Vin lets out a gentle laugh.
分かった。あなたの言う通りにしよう。
Let's head back to the Omnispirits Bureau. Then, as long as we're together, we'll definitely find a way.
そうだね。
Having gotten the answer you wanted, you turn around and walk towards the door with satisfaction.
あなたにそう言ってもらえて、嬉しいよ。
What? Vin remains silent and continues walking forward as if his murmured words were simply a figment of your imagination. After you leave the clinic, Vin completely seals off the barrier, protecting the little sparrow monster so that it can recover in an isolated space. The long day is finally coming to an end. Omnispirits Bureau Agent Apartment. Perhaps because too much has happened, fatigue washes over you as soon as you get back to your apartment. After quickly washing up and changing clothes, you go straight to bed. It starts as an ordinary night with mundane matters floating before your eyes, forming a treeless dream. But at some point, your consciousness suddenly plunges, first falling into darkness, then awakening within it. You hear voices as you open your eyes in confusion. And find yourself in a dark jungle, being pushed forward by the jostling crowd. The chilling wind blows through the withered leaves as an eerie howl echoes from afar.
妖獣が来たぞー
Before you can figure out where you are, someone behind you gives you a rough shove, nearly making you trip. Hurried footsteps sound like a frantic drum roll. One stumble is all it takes for the crowd to swallow you whole.
お母さん、どこ？置いてかないで。
どけ
You watch as the thin girl is shoved aside by the villager. You instinctively want to go help her up, but before you can take a step, someone pushes you down. The crowd is pushing and shoving in all directions. You try several times to get up, but only get yourself covered in mud. Just as you feel like you're about to suffocate, a hand suddenly appears in front of you, like a piece of driftwood rescuing you from despair.
早く起きなさい。
Vin? He pauses briefly, a flicker of confusion passing through his eyes, but he doesn't press further. Instead, he walks away after helping you up. When you look back again, you see him pick up the little girl who had fallen and return to your side.
どこかで会ったことが。
You don't know how to answer. The Vin you know seems to belong to a different time and space from the one you are in now, but several bestial roars interrupts your thoughts. You look toward the source of the sound and see some three-headed giant tigers emerge from the forest, advancing menacingly toward the crowd. You try to channel your power only to find that your spiritual veins are depleted. You are no more than an ordinary person at this moment. Amidst the restless screams, Vin gently puts the little girl down. Thinking that he is going to abandon her, the little girl desperately clutches onto Vin's clothes.
いい子にして。そこにいるお姉さんについていって、しっかり生きなさい。
In an instant, energy surges around Vin like a sudden storm, sending fallen leaves swirling all around. Dust blinds you, and when you look up after the storm subsides, Vin has already spread his wings and flown towards the roaring beasts. Those wings! That's the Jiangqi's true form. Vin fights the tiger monsters alone as the crowd scatters in panic, but you refuse to leave, hiding behind an old tree at the edge of the battlefield. The tiger's claws are like sharp blades, tearing bone-deep wounds into Vin's flesh, only to be crushed by his spiritual technique in the next moment. Blood slowly soaks through his clothes, but he doesn't back down, shielding everyone behind him. And you can only stand there, watching helplessly. Vin! Vin! At last, only one tiger monster remains. Having exhausted his powers, the Jiangqi's true form fades, and he stands with the broken sword in his hand. During their battle, Vin's sword pierces through the tiger monster's heart, while its sharp teeth bite into Vin's shoulder. A chilling, blade-laden wind sweeps in, carrying the sharp crack of shattering bone. Thus, this life or death fight has finally come to an end. Stay right here. I'll be back soon. You hide the little girl behind the tree and run desperately towards Vin. He is lying in his own pool of blood, breathing erratically, his body covered in mud and fallen leaves. You try to help him up and let him lean into your arms, but seeing his body covered in wounds, you don't know how to safely move him. You can only kneel on the ground, letting him rest his head on your lap. He looks at you somewhat bewilderedly, but doesn't refuse.
あなたは何者なんだ？
You don't know how to respond. As you look up, the villagers who had initially scattered suddenly gather around, completely surrounding the two of you.
おい、焦るな。こいつも妖怪だってことを忘れたのか。
何ビビってんだ。こんなに怪我してるんだ。どの道持たないだろうよ。
You sense their hostility and look around warily. Some of them have already started throwing stones at both of you to test your reaction. What are you doing? He just saved your lives.
何企んでるかわからねえだろ。所詮は妖怪だ。力がないうちに退治すりゃいい。殺すのはもったいない。縛り上げてお役人に突き出せば雑賃がもらえるかもしれん。
そうだそうだ。金さえあれば逃げ回らないで済む。
世の中がこんなに乱れてるのはこいつら化け物のせいじゃねえか。こいつだって同罪だ。一緒にいる化け物の女もひっ捕らえろ。一人も逃がすなよ。
Just as you are about to argue back, a flying stone hits your forehead and your vision turns blood red. You cover your wound and lower your head. Vin, who has been unresponsive for a while, struggles to lift himself up, his cold fingers brushing across your forehead. He uses the last bit of his demonic power to heal your wounds.
もう大丈夫だね。早く逃げなさい。
What about you? You don't understand why he laughs instead of getting angry at this situation. nor can you grasp what emotions are hidden behind that laugh.
僕はあやかしだからね。この手のことには慣れている。あなたこそ。
He gazes at you, those golden eyes holding your reflection. He just silently looks at you, as if puzzled by something, as if trying to remember something. You never get to hear those unfinished words. A gentle breeze blows by, sending you away like a fallen leaf. You desperately try to hold on to him, but he only shakes his head, and the hand that has reached out to you finally falls. Seeing that he has completely lost the ability to resist, the villagers swarm around him, silhouettes of sinister grins engulfing him whole. Vin! Vin! You hysterically call out his name, but grow further and further away from him, finally falling back into the initial darkness. Omnispirit's Burrow Agent's apartment. The emotions feel so real that it is devastating. Piercing through reality, you wake up screaming, but thankfully it is all just a dream. Just as you're about to breathe a sigh of relief, you hear a weak and pain moan sound in the room. You turn around and see Vin collapsing beside the sofa, his figure almost transparent in the moonlight. Vin! You rush over to him, trying to help him up, but your hands pass right through his intangible body. He is right in front of you, yet he feels as unreachable as a mirage, which makes you feel much more helpless than being in a dream. How did this happen? What exactly is going on? You thought someone had broken in and hurt him, but this is the Omnispirit's burrow, and Vin is a spiritual form which would make it impossible. Vin lies on the floor, breathing with difficulty. It takes a while before he starts to feel slightly better.
無理に引き剥がそうとしてもうまくいかないね。むしろ因果の力に跳ね返されてしまったよ。
He speaks weakly in an intermittent tone, and you finally understand what he'd been up to while you were asleep. That vivid dream you had is probably triggered by Vin's forceful separation. It must have triggered your bond with him. Your bond grew stronger in response, which is why you shared his memories and witnessed the things he experienced. Why did you do that? Didn't you see yourself that if you lost your anchor, you might disappear forever?
ああ、言った。だけど、たとえ消えたとしても、あなたに危害を及ぼすことに比べたら、どうということはない。足手まといになるのは、ごめん被りたいからね。
What are you talking about? Vin shakes his head, his gaze cool and sharp, seeming more clear-headed than ever.
今の僕の力では金羽に勝てない。こうして全てを終わらせた方がいいんだ。あれは、この身に宿る9機の霊視を追っている。僕が消えれば、痕跡を見失って諦めるしかないだろう。もう十分に生きたからね。今さら死ごとき怖くはないよ。あなたと過ごす時間は、思ったより短くなってしまったけれど。僕がいなくなっても、あなたは普通の生活を送れるだろう。いや、むしろいない方が。
Despite seeing that he gazes at you intently, his eyes filled with your reflection, displaying something completely unlike the ease in his words. I told you I wouldn't run away when things get tough. Why don't you trust me? Why don't you believe that I'm different from those who betrayed you? His expression changes instantly. He seems to want to prove something as he struggles to lift his hand, even though he knows that he can't possibly grasp anything. Just as his hand is about to fall, you quickly reach out, your finger passing through his thin figure to make a gesture of linking your pinky fingers.
あなたは。
Those ravens have already discovered my presence anyway. There's no escape for me. The Golden Crow doesn't know the truth about our bond. It only senses your aura on me. Even if you leave, I'm still the only lead it has to find you. Hence, there is no way I'm staying out of it. Vin doesn't refute you, only staring silently at your intertwined pinky fingers for a long while. With your power, I may still be able to fight against it. If I'm alone, there's absolutely no chance of me winning. So promise me, let's face everything together. A hint of confusion flashes through his eyes. He has traveled to so many places for hundreds of years, but it feels as if he has never truly seen this world. You are even more stubborn than he is. You wait for him to agree, refusing to give in and refusing to back down. His emotions are in turmoil, but you don't give him time to think further, waving your finger to urge him into action. Finally, he shows a helpless smile and hooks his fingers with yours.
わかった。約束だね。
Omnispirit's Borough Agent Apartment. After that day, you report the Golden Crow's appearance to your superiors along with the Black Raven attack case for joint investigation. The city has more patrols and additional seals have been placed around the Omnispirit's Borough. However, the Golden Crow seems to have noticed the increased vigilance as the anomalies have subsided recently. In your spare time, you study formations with Finn and formulate countermeasures. If I followed your guidance in combining the binding and killing formations, could you check if the technique here is correct? Vin? You turn your head to find Vin leaning against the sofa cushions, his eyes tightly shut in deep slumber. The forced separation from last time seems to have severely weakened Vin, and even though nothing unusual has happened, he continues to grow weaker. You take a closer look at him, not wanting to wake him up, yet afraid that if he falls asleep like this, he would never wake up again. You don't know how long you stare at him in a daze, but the next moment you find yourself gazing into those clear golden eyes.
すまない。また眠ってしまっていたようだ。
Vin, you've been like this a lot lately. Are you really okay?
平気だよ。無理やり引き剥がそうとした反動が来ただけだから。心配はいらない。
Why don't you rest a bit more?
大丈夫だ。続けよ
In fact, you both know that this kind of rest won't do him any good. But if he continues to weaken like this, he might not even need the Golden Crow to strike. He would simply... Finn, isn't there any way to replenish your spiritual power?
う。もちろんあるよ。キングのように人や他のあやかしを食らって、その揚力を自分のものにするのが一番効率的だろうね。だけど、その道を選んでしまえば、ただの教授と同じだ。二度と後戻りはできなくなる。
And with that, the topic comes to a close. He leans over to the table, carefully examining the formation you just drawn.
近海の陣と石器の陣を合わせた術式か。うん。悪くないね。ただ、何かを仕留めるほど強力な陣容となると、相応の力がなければ発動しない。僕に実体があれば、その地で陣を結んで、より効果的なものにできただろう。
So, is this formation complete now?
そうなるね。どうもあなたは天賦の才を持っているようだ。治癒と浄化の力だけではなく、術式を展開する能力も秀でているよ。だから、次はその使い方を実践で学んで。
Suddenly, the whole world starts spinning, and a soul-shattering pain nearly tears you apart. You struggle to look at Vin, who seems to be suffering the same pain as you, yet keeps his eyes tightly shut, weathering through it without a word. The pain lasts only a second, but it seems to drain all your strength. You slump over the table, gasping for breath. What exactly is this?
診療所の結界が破られた。
Could it be that the Golden Crow? Before you can finish speaking, you hear ominous and hoarse calls, and several ravens suddenly appears out of thin air in the room. You form a formation to attack, but they leave something behind before turning into a black shadow and disappearing. You walk over and see an agate bracelet that looks a bit familiar. This is... it belongs to that little sparrow monster. You bend down to pick it up, and the moment you touch the bracelet, your vision suddenly goes back black, possibly due to the lingering negative effects of the broken barrier. Seriously, for a divine bird to stoop so low as to take a minor monster hostage, how
万
despicable.
霊長に正面から攻め込めないから、僕たちが罠にかかりに来るのを待ち伏せているんだろう。今の僕たちに勝算があるとは言えないからね。
That's true. Your skills are far too rudimentary to face the Golden Crow, who has extraordinary abilities and few weaknesses. It has its methods, but you have your reinforcements. Its attempt to lure us in backfired, exposing to its own location instead. You report this matter to the Bureau and quickly get approval to proceed with the operation. Let's head out first and stabilize the situation. Don't let it hurt the Sparrow Monster. The elite squad from the Omni Spirits Bureau will be here soon. Vin doesn't respond, nor does he move. You assume that he is being wary of the Omni Spirits Bureau personnel. I've worked with them for years, and I trust my colleagues. Even if you don't trust them, surely you can trust me.
当然だよ。
Vin answers you without hesitation, so quickly that you forget what you were about to say next.
とはいえ、これは本来僕自身の問題だ。一緒に来て危険な目にあっても構わないと言うんだね。
It is rare for Vin to ask such a direct question, leaving you momentarily at a loss for words. I thought you already knew my answer.
あなたの言葉で聞かせてくれる？
At this moment, for some reason, Vin suddenly wants a clear answer. I want to be there with you. We promised each other, didn't we? To live as one through thick and thin.
そうだったね。
He gazes deep into your eyes, so deeply it feels like a final farewell.
僕を信じて。あなたを危険な目に遭わせない。
You don't know if it's just your imagination, but Vin suddenly looks much better. The familiar, somewhat distant pride reflected in his brows returns.
こんな手で僕を追い詰めたつもりとは、随分と見くびられたものだ。
As you close the door, you see Vin waiting for you in the hallway. Suddenly, you realize how you have grown accustomed to his companionship. Perhaps the conversation earlier has opened up your heart, and now there are still many things you want to say to him. But there's still time ahead of you. You can't wait until the fight is won, then tell him everything after. Healing Clinic. The healing clinic is particularly deserted at midnight. The night sky seems to be veiled by dark clouds with no stars and moon in sight. You follow Vin closely as you move forward. The silence around you is terrifying, and you can actually hear your heart racing. The clinic's front door is wide open, but it is completely empty inside, with no sign of the Sparrow Monster anywhere.
敵は死角に潜んでいる。用心して。
Just as you nod, a cold light comes shooting at you from afar. You raise your hand to form a barrier, and Vin has already stepped in front of you, shooting down the icy flame. It is a black feather glowing with an eerie green light and reduced to ashes in the next moment.
うん。 相変わらず不意打ちばかりで少しも芸がない。
Vince's expression turns cool as he watches the ashes scatter in the wind in this scene, as if looking at something filthy. A twisted vortex suddenly appears in the center of the courtyard, seething with malice, until the golden crow finally shows itself.
幾世相を経ても若造の小憎たらしい向上は変わらぬか。
Your heart clenches. It can directly see and speak to Vince's spiritual form, something only a monster of immense power could achieve.
封印の中にいても時の流れを感じることができるのかい？てっきり死んだように五感は失われると思っていたが、どうやら寝心地は悪いらしい。
いまいましい。そなたさえいなければ我はとうに世をすべて神格を取り戻していたものを。
意に言い落とされたその日から君と宮殿の縁は断たれてしまった。あれからどれだけの月日が経ったと思う。今や人間種も剣と槍だけで戦う時代じゃない。哀れだね。昔の力を取り戻したところで追いさらばえたネズミが血を這うようなもの、人の上に立つことなど叶わないだろう。
While Vin is distracting the golden crow, you quietly shift to the side and lower your head to check on the reinforcements from the burrow. Strangely, even though you keep sending signals, there is never a response. You call Kiki Bennett, but the line is busy.
どうした捜査官の娘よ。頼みの綱が断たれてしまったか。人間は数に任せて弱きをくじくのが好きであろう。我はこの目で幾度となく見てきた。何諦めるがよい。助けは来ないぞ。花から助けを請うてもいないのであるからな。
What?
ここはそなたらの思うような場所ではない。
The surroundings suddenly change and you can't tell what is real anymore. You now understand that you've fallen into its illusion. As for when the illusion began,
あのメノウのブレスレット。
you suddenly realize that high-level illusions can use objects as mediums. The moment you touch the bracelet, reality flip. So, all that stuff about reporting to your higher-ups and getting approval for this operation afterward is just your imagination.
最初から罠にかかっていたわけか。
これもまた出場。そなたが触れて我の容器に気づけば、あるいはと思うたが杞憂だったようだ。まさかかつては威風堂々たる旧貴の宿主が今や斧が肉体すら保てぬとは、なんとまあ哀れな。旧貴の力など今のそなたには過ぎたもの。この我が食ろうてやるとしよう。
Before it can finish, an icy whirlwind sweeps through the courtyard, and many sharp feathers come flying at you like arrows. You form a formation with your right hand to counter the attack, while raising a barrier with your left hand to prevent any sneak attacks.
気をつけて。
Seeing that you can handle the assault, Vince summons cool flames at his fingertips and leaps towards the golden crow's true form. With an arrogant laugh, it moves swiftly through the air, conjuring phantom after phantom. No one can instantly tell which is the true form.
七尾の狐が使う幻影。君は。
さよう。奴らの妖骨を食って我の力としたのよ。次はそなたの番だ。おお、あの捜査官の小娘もな。二人揃って我が神格を取り戻すための餌食となるがいい。
そうはさせない。
Vince's tone becomes angrier and his attack grows increasingly fierce. You catch a glimpse of the fierce battle between him and the Golden Crow, but can't afford to be distracted. Just when you finally deal with the arrow feathers, the dark clouds above transform into crows and plunge down, carrying filthy energy as they attack you. It never ends. You know this can't last. Even if you block every strike, you will eventually be worn down. In terms of spiritual power reserves, you're completely outmatched. Since there's no going back, you might as well risk it all. While the Golden Crow is fighting Vin, you give up the barrier and form a formation with both hands to attack it, only to be engulfed by a flock of crows in the next second. But you feel no pain. When you open your eyes again, you are enveloped in warm, cool colored flames.
どうしてこんな危険な真似を
Vin returns to your side at some point. He turns his power into cool flames to protect you and disperse the crows. You look in the direction of the Golden Crow, and sure enough, it is restrained by your formation. All of its phantoms dissipate. But before you can even feel relief, you feel the force of its desperate struggle strike back at you.
無茶をしないでほしい。怪我をしてしまうから。
Vin's demonic energy transforms into a surging warmth that flows into your body, helping you maintain the formation. You hold your breath and focus as the formation gradually tightens, trying to find the Golden Crow's weakness to seal it in one go. The Golden Crow cries furiously, causing the earth to tremble. Vin stands unwavering. Instead, he accelerates the infusion of spiritual power.
肉体も持たぬ霊体ごときがどうして小娘を救えると思ったか
The Golden Crow takes an offensive defense, flapping its wings to create a whirlwind, drumming everything around it with overwhelming force. The gravel and dry branches in the courtyard are sucked into the whirlwind and crushed to pieces. You stumble a few steps before being swept up into the air by the raging wind. Vin! You instinctively reach out to grab him, but the Vin before you has no physical form. Your hand passes through his spirit, yet you can never truly touch him. Time seems to freeze for a moment, then you are swept into the storm with no strength left to struggle. Amidst the flying rocks, you see a dazzling and blinding purple light. A hand firmly pulls you close, rescuing you from danger. You look up and see the face you are most familiar with, yet this touch and warmth feel very unfamiliar, as if from another lifetime. Vin, how did you... Compared to your surprise, his expression is exceptionally calm, as if everything happening now is within his expectations.
全部終わったら説明してあげるよ。
Vin uses his power to continue casting the sealing formation, and you quickly raise your hand to infuse your spiritual power into it. The Golden Crow is bent on mutual destruction, desperately flapping its wings to create whirlwinds. The surroundings are gradually crumbling into ruins as the world seems to dim in terror.
同じ手を食らうものかはっ片手の陣とは舐められたものよその脆弱な力で防げるとでも女から手を離し我との戦いに集中すれば勝機はあるかもしれぬというのに
In an instant, the all-devouring storm grows more violent, and Vin holds you even tighter, yet she remains unwavering.
彼女だけは手放さないよ。絶対に。
As Vin speaks, the formation's forming speed increases, but as the Golden Crow said, forming a formation with one hand does have its limits.
僕と一緒にやってくれるね。
But I...
金塊、石器、二つの陣を組み合わせた術式に至ったのはあなただろう。頭の中にある法陣を再現するだけでいい。
But I only drew the formation. I haven't tried it yet.
結果は気にしなくて大丈夫。 いつもあなたが僕を信じるように自分を信じてあげて。僕たちは運命共同体、全てに立ち向かっていく約束をしたよね。最後の法人は一緒に完成させよう。
You can vaguely feel that your spiritual energy is being guided by Vin. You recall everything Vin taught you and construct the formation you drew with your own hands. Spiritual energy traces through the air as Vin's and your formations resonate with each other, finally converging into a combined formation.
結成。
The binding killing formation is complete, with spiritual energy transforming into thorns and spikes that ensnare the golden crow within. Its flailing wings are now firmly bound, unable to fight back.
バカな。とうに力は尽きたはず。まさかそうなった。
確かに僕一人の力では君に勝てる見込みはない。だけど君は吸気について何も知らない上に欲に駆られて無謀な真似をしたんだ。策士策に溺れる。獲物に駆られる気分はどうだい？無限の虚空で神になる夢を貪り食らうといい。
The binding sprites locking the golden cross body and dragging it into the seal.
盛りつきれい。何も見抜けぬ我と思ったか。そなたもいずれ死に定め。
地獄に落ちるのはどうやら僕ではなかったようだね。
In a blink of an eye, the storm-wielding black feathers fall, the sky-cloaking ravens disperse, and the world returns to its most ordinary yet precious state of peace. Only you and Vin remain in the empty courtyard. Even though the calamity has passed, he still holds you tightly. Vin,
もう少しだけこのままでいたいんだ。
you nod, not refusing him, even greedily savoring the feeling of his real presence. Sure, as long as you want. Abandoned mansion. As everything is over and the clouds disperse, cool moonlight spills over the ruins once more. Vin refuses to let go, and you can feel his weight pressing heavily against you as his breathing grows rapid and shallow. You snap out of your momentary indulgence, and as you recall everything that just happened, you gradually feel uneasy. Vin, what's wrong? Are you hurt?
大丈夫。本当に何でもないよ。
He hurriedly denies it, but his voice sounds muffled. Are you tired? Let's head home and rest for a bit. It was a close call, but thankfully we managed to seal it.
あなたを危険な目に遭わせないと約束したからね。
So, you had already figured out his scheme?
もちろん完璧とはいかなかったけれど、ああした手合いの考えることはたかが知れている。戦うと決めた以上、僕はあらゆる結末を予想している。
You thought you were just lucky, but Vin had a strategy all along. When you get back, you'll make sure he tells you all about his plans.
さあ、帰ろうか。
With that, he straightens up, lets you go, and takes a step towards the exit. But in the next moment, he collapses as if his strength has been completely drained. Vin! You instinctively try to hold on to him, but you both end up falling to the ground together. He suppresses a painful groan and looks at you with a concern, as if wanting to say something, but is choked by another wave of intense pain. You fall to your knees in a daze, helplessly watching as Vin cracks like fragile porcelain, his demonic power dissipating like fireflies. Vin! Vin! He looks at you, his eyes misty with emotions, as if there are many things he wants to see, but in the end he only lets out a soft sigh.
もう一度抱きしめてくれるかい。
Compared to your panic, his voice is devoid of joy or sorrow, calm as if he had known this was how it would end all along. You quickly bend down to hug him. He smiles, taking your hand and pressing it firmly against his cheek.
あなたの手は温かいね。
He turns his face, nuzzling gently against your palm, as if trying to make up for the warmth he couldn't feel before. You want so badly to hear him say there is still a way to save him. As if he is guessing what you are thinking, he just smiles and shakes his head.
ずっと秘密にしていたことがあるんだ。
A secret?
実は嘘をついていてね。あなたに取り付いているのは単なる偶然じゃない。
The reflection of the moon in Vin's eyes radiates a warmth that you've never seen before.
あの日の僕は自分の消滅を予感したけれど、後悔はなく、意外だとも思わなかった。僕は浮世をさすらうもの。穏やかな日々はなく、死はようやく訪れた安らかな眠りだと思っていたんだよ。でも、死を目前にして、どうしようもなく焦がれてしまった。もう一度、あなたに会いたくなった。
Me?
一目見られれば、それでいいと思っていたけれど。とにかく、僕たちにふさわしい別れ方をしなければ、と。
Then how?
僕の衰弱を悟ったんだろう。吸気の力が暴走して、最後の力を振り絞って抑え込むのがやっとだった。結局、死に際に目にしたのは、遠く離れた後ろ姿だけ。あと少しで届きそうだったのに。
You can't imagine how Vin felt that night. If he had vanished then, you would never have known about it.
だから、あなたと二人きりで過ごせたことに満足しているんだよ。思ったより短い時間だったけれど、1000年以上生きてきた中で一番幸せだった。金は虚空に封じられ、吸気は間もなく消滅する。一挙両得といったところかな。この世を脅かすことはない。もう、いいんだ。
But you don't believe his words. If he is satisfied, why is looking at you like that? Why is he smiling when his eyes can't hide how much he wants to see with you? You want to see something, but tears fall first, passing through his increasingly transparent body and falling to the ground. The touch of your hand on his cheek slowly fades away. Even though he is right here in your arms, you just can't hold on to him. Please, don't leave me, Vin. At the final moment, Vin turns his head and places a gentle kiss on your palm.
あなたに僕のことを覚えていてほしかった。僕は身勝手だから。だけど、忘れてくれていい。夜明けを迎えたら、忘れてね。
In the next instant, the fireflies burst like fireworks, shattering into nothingness before your eyes. You reach out to grab it, but those intangible specks of light slip through your fingers like sand, leaving nothing behind. The person who had just been holding your hand while speaking vanishes completely, as if he had never been here at all. In your palm, his warmth still lingers, with a searing pain that seems unwilling to fade away. After what seems like an eternity, the morning sun rises, bestowing the world with its first ray of light. And there you are, alone, kneeling motionless in the courtyard. Faced with memories you can never forget, you let out sobs that no one would answer. Omnispirit's burrow. After Vin disappears, time seems to move ever so slowly. The candlelight monitoring the Qiongqi's power at the Omnispirit's burrow has extinguished, causing some commotion, but no one except you know what happened. Afterward, the crow incident never happened again. The city returns to normal, and no one speaks of Vin anymore.
またぼんやりしてますけど、何考えてるんですか？
You come back to your senses as you think the keys fall from Kiki. It's nothing, just a little occupied with my thoughts. Is this a new case?
はい。妖霊が人間に取り付いた世にも珍しい凶悪事件です。
Your hand jerks in response, causing the papers in the folder to scatter across the floor. You quickly crouch down to pick them up.
そう焦らなくても、とっくに解決してますって。本部の上級捜査官が3人出動して、恒例の陣で封印したんですから。
Sealing it off? Isn't that too harsh? Your mind is filled with Vin, and the questioning words just slip out even though you know you shouldn't see such things.
妖霊の憑依は命に関わるんですよ。
Kiki exclaims in surprise, her expression set with a grimness that you rarely see her with.
彼らが人間に取り付くのは、妖力が落ちて実体を保てなくなった時。その目的はただ一つ。人間を養分にして死ぬまで生命力を吸収し続けるためでしかない。
But maybe there are some exceptions.
何言ってるんですか。こう見えて私もあやかしなんですよ。彼らのことをわからないわけないでしょ。そもそも吸収しなくたって憑依してる間は力の奪い合いになります。自分の妖力を消耗させて人間に供給してあげるなら話は別ですけど、自分の身を守るのでやっとなのにそんなことしませんよね。
If a monster uses its power to sustain humans, what will happen in the end?
知りませんよ。そんな無謀なことやらかすあやかし前代未聞すぎて。でも妖力が枯渇したら普通は消えるんじゃないかな。
Your head buzzes like a swarm, yet scenes keep flashing before your eyes.
あやかしは人間の生命力を食い尽くすために取り付く。宿主が気づく頃には身も心も乗っ取られているだろ
But I don't seem to feel anything unusual.
う。ええ。だから僕たちだけが特別なんだろうね。合鍵は右から2番目の植木鉢の下にあるよ。これからはあなたに預かってもらおうかな。たまに様子を見に来てもらいたいし。
I'll have to come back when you're here. I can't just break into an empty house.
だから、あなたと二人きりで過ごせたことに満足しているんだよ。思ったより短い時間だったけれど、1000年以上生きてきた中で一番幸せだった。もう、いいんだ。
Everything becomes clear to you right now. Why you've never been affected by his attachment and instead felt as if you were brimming with power while Vin grew weaker by the day. The endings he saw coming, the promises he left hanging, you could have spotted all the signs. But you hadn't. Why? Why didn't you tell me earlier? Exhausted, you kneel on the ground as if you lost him for the second time. The tender moments of the past have turned into piercing bleeds, cutting so deep that every memory leaves you wounded. But you willing embrace this heartbreaking pain, quietly mourning a farewell that no one else knows about. Healing Clinic. 5 years have passed in the blink of an eye. So much has happened during this time. The legendary alignment of the seven stars has reappeared, spiritual beings are surging everywhere, and the previously assassinated beasts have been reborn and are now going rampant. The entire Omnispirit's Bureau has been mobilized, suffering heavy losses to contain the situation, yet they are still unable to find the source of the anomalies. It is late autumn when the maple leaves are turning crimson. You take a break from your busy schedule and go to the healing clinic for your bi-weekly cleanup. It's about time to replace the flowers you put in the vase last time. Even though no one's there to appreciate them, they make the clinic feel less empty and desolate. As you push open the door, you lower your head to take out the key Vin gave you. When you look up again, you see a familiar figure. Vin! That person suddenly turns around, and the familiar face is far clearer than in all the dreams you've had in the past 5 years. He is right in front of you, yet you can't believe your own eyes.
僕を知っているのかな？レイというのは僕の名前ですか？
He walks towards you with a dazed and completely unguarded expression until he says directly before you. You don't remember? He shakes his head, seemingly a bit lost, yet his eyes seem to light up like fireflies as he gazes at you intently.
荒野で目覚めた時、ほとんど記憶がありませんでした。ですが、一つだけ確かなことがあって、ここで会いたい人がいたのです。
Who?
顔ははっきりとは見えません。ただ、無償に会いたいと願っていました。その人のことがどうしても頭から離れなくて。この世界は僕にとって牢獄も同然だったけれど、彼女のそばにいる時だけは本当に生きていると思えたから。
So, did you find her? A gust of wind stirs up the crimson maple leaves, and before the dappled shadows of trees, that tangible warmth finally enveloped your hands. He lowers his head as if in devout confirmation and places a searing kiss on your palm.
ええ、ここに。僕はようやくあなたの元に帰ってこられたんだね。
Vin, you look pale. Are you not feeling well?
大丈夫。荒野に転生して、どうやら正気に当てられたようだ。吸気の力で抑えようとしたけれど、どちらも混沌の性質だからか、思ったほど効果がないらしい。
Don't push yourself too hard. Why did you let me help you?
ありがとう。あなたが良ければ。でも、一体何を？
The evil energy comes from impure demonic power. Since the engulfing breath can be purified by the bluebird's power, perhaps this evil energy can be dispelled as well. Give me a try. I will transfer my power into your body. Try to accept it.
ここに残る感触と、唇にあったぬくもりが、誓いになって、僕を連れ戻したんだ。肩を寄せ合う恋人を見たことはあるが、僕自身はわからない。でも、今なら。正気は消えたのに、なぜか前より胸騒ぎがする。大丈夫。不思議と心地がいいんだ。 僕たちの力が混ざり、溶け合うように一つになる。不思議な感覚だ。
How is it? Are you feeling any better?
楽になってないなら、もっと僕に付き添ってくれるのかいなんてね。だいぶ良くなったよ。
If you want me to stay, just tell me directly, and if you're feeling unwell, let me know right away.
わかった。弱さも痛みも隠すつもりはないよ。あなたにだけは嘘をつきたくないから。輪廻を半ば経験して、ほとんど記憶がないけれど、二人で過ごした時間の記憶は戻ってきている。
You once told me your story, and I remember it all. With me by your side, I'll help you remember everything bit by bit.
なら、僕に聞かせてくれるかい？一緒に過ごしながら、伝えたかった言葉を思い出したくて。
Then why didn't you tell me all about this back when we spent every day together?
あの頃は、必然的な別れを前にして、傷つけて終わりにしたくなかったから。でも、今はこうして取り戻すことができた。あなたという人、命より大切なものを僕は得たんだ。